All right, so if you've been living under a rock, Rome Odunze is one of the best wide receivers in this draft. I've been talking about him on this channel, and I felt like it was best to make a video on him. Before we get started, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, be sure to follow me on all social media at Bogen. Let's get this thing going. So, Rome Odunze from Washington. This is somebody 6'3", 220 pounds. I actually ended up grading really highly as my number 2 wide receiver ahead of Malik Neighbors, only behind Marvin Harrison Jr. And here's why. He's a 3-year starter at Washington, team captain. This is somebody who has very good size. Again, like I mentioned at the position, 6'3", 220. Ran a 4.45 at the combine. And I think, on tape, the speed shows up. He doesn't have game-breaking speed. He doesn't have, 4.3 speed or anything like that. But I think 4.45 is fair. I think he probably plays more at like a 4.5 flat, but that's just me. He's a natural hands receiver. What I mean by this is really he is going to let this thing go right into his hands. He's not going to bring it into his body. He's not trying to cheat the system. He really is trying to make a clean catch, and that is important, okay? Some people might say it doesn't matter as long as you catch the football, but it does matter. Body catchers don't do as well in the NFL. I can tell you that right now. It just does not happen. He's a guy that really just doesn't put himself in those opportunities and sets himself up well for the quarterback. He is incredibly reliable playing through contact. And if you don't believe me, just listen to this. So, tied for first in contested catches with Luke McCaffrey in 2023 with 17. He has the physicality to win after the catch, and he's going to be a problem in the YAC game, yards after the catch game, especially with a better quarterback. Okay, I'm going to say something that might be a little controversial. All right, bear with me here. When I was watching Rome Odunze's tape, I really took notice of something. He was held back by Michael Penix Jr. Okay? I think far often we look at, a quarterback and a team that was undefeated until the final game of the year, and, he has good numbers and he's probably going to go high in the draft. And we just assume oh yeah, he's great. There's, that only helps out Rome Odunze. He helped Rome Odunze. Or what we don't talk about is that Jalen Polk is also going to be, an early potential day 2 pick, as well as Jalen McMillan. And we also don't look at the fact that Michael Penix Jr., if you watch the tape, underthrew a lot of these guys. And I'm going to say right now, yes, he's got an arm, but when he was throwing with touch, he would underthrow guys. And this is not to trash Penix, but it's to really show you what Rome Odunze was dealing with. So I think he's going to have better quarterback play at the next level. I think they're going to put him in position where, you're able to lead your receiver. And when you lead your receiver, they're in the best position to succeed after the catch, make plays after the catch. Because I think he is going to be a problem in the YAC game, but I had to defend my statement because I understand his production on tape yards after the catch isn't as great as some other guys, but I think it'll be up there in due time, especially based on who will be throwing him the football. Of course, if he gets a bad quarterback, then nothing he could do there. So those are my thoughts on physicality. He's a very smart route runner, and I don't think he's the best route runner in this class, not by a long shot, but I think he has a chance to be very, very good. What I notice is when I'm watching the film with him, he's going to find the soft spot in coverage, okay? He's going to make sure if I need that third down, he's going to improvise, okay? He's going to get over there. He's going to make himself known, very available, and Penix is going to throw a dart to him, and that is, an important thing. And also just knowing he has the confidence to sit there and get absolutely blasted in the back or, drilled in the head or whatever. And he holds on to the ball more often than not. So good stuff there. He has no issue redirecting when his route gets clogged. When you have those crossers over the middle, we've all seen them before. There's a lot of congestion there. You're talking about linebackers, corners following wide receivers. It's just a lot. So in that sense, you have to be able to redirect. That's what I mean by that. And that is something that I think Rome Odunze stands out very well on tape doing. Not every receiver is going to do that. They might just kind of be ginger, and gingerly move and, try to like wait it out and slow down their route. No. You cannot do that. You can't afford to do it. Sometimes you have to redirect yourself. And I think Odunze does that well without losing speed. And then he's able to get open and, create plays. So love that. Coaches rave about his work ethic and his leadership. He was a team captain, and I think that's an important thing there. He's durable. And what I mean by that is that he's had injuries in the past. He broke his ribs, he punctured his lung. Like, he's had injuries in the past, but he doesn't miss too many games because of those injuries. As a matter of fact, he didn't miss any games with that punctured lung. So really impressive there. Just really going to be hard to take off the field. And in my opinion, I think he can be an alpha X receiver. And what I mean by that is, essentially they're both the same meaning. X receiver, alpha receiver, you're the top dog. You're the number one receiver on the team. You have the ability to do everything. You have the ability to win off of, press coverage. I think he's got everything in his toolbox to be able to make things happen and can be that legitimate X receiver at the next level. And I think he's a very good blocker. Some might disagree. I think he's ready. He's willing. The nuance things he's going to have to work on, but I really like him as a blocker. So those are his strengths. Before we get into his weaknesses, a special note out there from our sponsor, Mantis Sleep. So if you guys haven't already, be sure to check out Mantis Sleep. You can check it out. Link is in the description. Use my promo code JKBogan and get your 10% off Mantis Sleep. And what is Mantis Sleep? Well, they have sleep masks. And if you're struggling with sleeping right now, try it out. They have plenty of sleep masks on there. They have ones that are weighted. They have ones that are made of silk, so it's easier on the skin and everything. And they also have ones that connect to your phone, so you can listen to music. 100% blackout, C-shaped eye cups for side sleepers. Be sure to check out Mantis Sleep. Link is in the description. 10% off using promo code JKBogan. Now back to it. So weaknesses here. There's not a ton. And the thing about Rome Odunze is there's really not going to be a ton. When you watch his game, there are weaknesses that everybody has, okay? Limitations, physical. He lacks the elusiveness to be dominant at making guys miss in space. He is not at all Tyreek Hill. So let me just make that very clear. Not everybody that goes in the top 10 at wide receiver has to be Tyreek Hill. He doesn't do that. I think Malik Neighbors does a better job of doing that, showing more elusiveness. With that said, though, he also lacks, like I mentioned, nuance. He lacks that in certain areas. The floor's super high and the ceiling is super high. But I feel like I just came away with he needs to work on some little things. And that's the brilliance about NFL coaching, is that Rome Odunze is going to come to the NFL. He's going to get coached up at the NFL level, and then he is going to be so dominant because he's already so good as it is. And he's going to learn these little things as I'm being nitpicky and work on them. I think he needs more polish as a route runner, and I think he needs to play at 100% more. And what I mean by this is not necessarily that his motor runs cold. No, this goes back to the Penix situation. If Michael Penix Jr. is underthrowing you consistently, right, you're going to have a lot of opportunities to go up and high point the football in 50-50 situations. Well, I felt like too often you would see Odunze slowing down, almost anticipating the underthrow in those 50-50 situations. He was fine with the 50-50 ball situation instead of actually beating a guy over the top. And what I will say to that is it makes a lot of sense because Penix would underthrow him. And he's got the arm strength. Again, it's just the touch. He's just like, when he tries to throw a touch, it just doesn't go as far as he wants it to. He struggles with that. So I would just say that looking at Odunze, really everything is there that you need in a number one receiver. My player comp for him is Davante Adams, okay? Davante Adams, one of the best receivers in the league. It feels like a spitting image of him. Adams at no point was ever the fastest receiver in the league. At no point was he ever the most elusive. At no point was he ever really the best at anything. He was just really good all around. I think Adams is a much better route runner, but I don't think he was as good of a route runner, initially coming out of Fresno State. So what I would say is that he is a spitting image of Davante Adams. I think he's a spitting image of him now. and I think he's very similar to him when he was coming out of Fresno State. I think Odunze is a better prospect than Adams was, but I think Adams obviously now is a better player. With that said, though, Rome Odunze starts off his career in 2020, only played 4 games, 72 yards, 6 receptions. 2021, he plays 9 games, 41 catches, 415 yards, and 5 touchdowns. 2022, he had 1,145 receiving yards on 75 receptions in 12 games. And then 2023, in 15 games, he had 92 receptions, 1,640 yards, and 13 touchdowns. He had 3 drops this past year, had 4 the following year, 7 in 2021, and 1 in the first year. This is somebody that holds on to the football. I love his drop rate. It's super low. That's exactly what you want to see. I don't get too crazy overproduction at the college level because we've seen receivers make it even if they're not, great in the college. But I do think it matters to a degree, and I definitely want to see your ability to separate. Now, if I was being picky, I would say I'd like to see a little bit more separation from him. But again, I think that stems from the 100% play speed, if you will, point that I was making about Penix. So, final thoughts here, okay? There is not much Rome Odunze is missing in his game. Most of these things you would argue they're just bad habits that he's, made because of the quarterback situation. And I'm not trying to say that the quarterback's bad, but my point is when you have a Patrick Mahomes or a Matthew Stafford or Josh Allen throwing you the football, it's going to put you in position where, okay, now, you're used to slowing down to catch it, and then, it takes away all the momentum. Now, instead, I'm throwing it right on the button, and you're not able, you don't even have to break your stride. That's what it should be, and that's what it wasn't. I think he is a number 2 wide receiver in this class. I think he's the number 1 receiver on a team. I think he's number 2 in this class behind only Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's a favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And when Odunze is fully tapped out and developed, I think he has a chance to be the most efficient receiver in football, very similar to Davante Adams. So what were my grades on him? Well, I gave him a 9.3 agility out of 10. I gave him a 9.2 blocking out of 10. I gave him a 9.6 hands out of 10. I gave him a release of 9.2 out of 10, route running at 9.6 out of 10, catch in traffic 9.6 out of 10, 8.8 speed out of 10, 8.8 yak ability out of 10, ball tracking ability 9.5 out of 10, and spatial awareness 9.4 out of 10, with a grand total of 93 grade out of 100. I think we're looking at a rookie year starter that is very, very close to being an elite prospect. I would probably say he is. My grading scale would say that he's not because, 9.5, aka 95 is elite. But I would say Rome Odunze is an elite prospect. I don't think he has one distinguishing trait where I'm sitting there saying, yeah, this guy has something I've never seen before. But I think the thing that's distinguishing is the fact that of all these receivers in this draft, I think he has the most well-rounded game. And I think he's very translatable to the NFL level. So very excited to see Rome Odunze on Sundays. And, those are my thoughts on him. Now, does he make sense for the Rams? Well, I think he does. And here's why. Now, I have to address the first thing. And the first thing is, a lot of people ask me, Jake, why do you have the Rams taking a receiver? Why do you think they'll take a receiver in the top 3 rounds? Why? Why do you keep doing that? Well, there's 2 receivers, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, that are signed beyond 2024 to the roster, okay? Only 2. That's a big deal. That's the first thing. Second thing is the NFL draft isn't just about the here and now. It's also about the future. So adding on to the point that I just made about only having 2 receivers on the roster next year, this is also keeping an eye on the future. But number 3, back when the Rams first drafted a pick, the last time they drafted a pick in the first round in Jared Goff, that guy was not on the field, okay? Not until later on in the season, okay? So because Jared Goff wasn't on the field, that means a number 1 overall pick, and obviously the other picks that they traded away to get him were not on the field at that time. That's okay. that team was not going to win a Super Bowl that year. This team could. And this team has playoff, aspirations, and they have every right to believe that. So if they believe that, which I believe they do, going out and getting Rome Odunze, just know that it helps the future. He's 21 years old, will be 22 this year, but he's going to be 22, young receiver, has X potential where he can be the number one receiver and help out Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp immediately. But then in addition to that, like after Cooper Kupp, it's him and Puka, and you have him on a 5th-year option. So Puka Nacua, you have a 4-year deal because you drafted him in the 5th round. Rome Odunze, you could have him on a 5-year deal essentially with that 5th-year option. The 5th-year option, guess what? The 5th-year option is going to be a very big value there. It's half of what receivers are going to get paid at the next level, when they get their contract, the top receivers. So if he ends up panning out, you have a bargain here. And I understand there may be more pressing needs, but free agency told us how the Rams feel about certain positions that we're calling needs. They don't feel as highly as you and I do. And that's the thing. So I think not only does it make sense to draft Odunze, I think this is something that they would do if they traded. Oh, they would heavily consider trading up. Now, to get him, you have to trade up to number 6, okay? You'd have to trade up to number 6 with the Giants because whoever picks him is going to pick him probably at 6. If he does manage to somehow fall to the end of the top 10, you could also see it there. I think that he would fit like a glove in a Sean McVay offense. And I think the things that he needs to work on that to make him the elite receiver and potential best receiver in the league someday, I think that he has it all. And I think the Rams, especially Eric Yarber, of all the receiver coaches you could have, Eric Yarber might be the best. So to get him with Eric Yarber, I think the sky is absolutely the limit. And the Rams now have a wide receiver room, if they do this, with Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Rome Odunze, Tutu Atwell, Demarcus Robinson. I mean, that is really good for just a year. Now think about having those top 3 next year and maybe beyond. How long Cooper Kupp plays, I don't know. That's why. Another thing is, do yourself a favor, go do some research, look up the Wikipedia, the draft pages, all the NFL drafts. Go back and find, not hard to see, go back and look when teams drafted for need over best player available. Look at the best player available. More often than not, you'll find the best player available's name is in gold. Like they have a star next to him. They're either a Pro Bowler, All Pro, or in the Hall of Fame. You do not pass on best player available. And what it really comes down to is if they're trading up to number 6, then they do find this to be enough of a need to go out and get him. And I'll say this, and I've said this so many times, you're probably sick of it, but in my opinion, there are only 7 blue chip prospects in this draft. And if you can get one of them, knowing that going into this draft, you were going to pick 19th, you'll be feeling really good about yourself if you come away with one of them. So those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section below if you want the Rams to trade up for Rome Odunze. I figured this video was definitely a must. I'm very excited about this prospect, regardless if he ends up with the Rams or not. If you're a football fan, fantasy football fan, whatever, you're going to like him. He's going to be fun to watch. And yeah, those are my thoughts. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Follow me on all social media at JKBogan. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, folks. Do you love talking about the Rams, the NFL, or just want to be a part of a community? Join my free Discord server today. We're over 800 members. We got 24/7 live chat, a level 3 boosted server, the ability to call into JE Live, playing online games with us on Kick streams, toggleable alerts for when I go live on YouTube or Kick so you don't miss a live stream, and exclusive giveaways. Click the link in the description, the comments section, or the link that comes up in the video to learn more and join today.